The FIDF supports the educational and well-being needs of the soldiers of the Israeli Defense Forces. That includes addressing the huge sacrifices made by thousands of young men and women around the world who courageously leave everything behind and volunteer to serve in the Israeli Defense Forces. These lone soldiers do so out of a shared belief that the IDF and the State of Israel enable each and every Jewish person on the planet to live proudly and with dignity. We are honored to have with us tonight two such young soldiers. They started their lives on opposite sides of the globe, but now wear the uniform of Eretz Yisrael. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sergeant Tal Dahan and Staff Sergeant L. Shmuel. Tal, you go first.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Tal Dahan. I'm 23 years old, and I'm a sergeant in the IDF. Originally, I'm from Beverly Hills, California. Yes, I had a Chihuahua. And I moved to Israel when I was 18 for university. I joined the Army as a lone soldier in November 2012. That means I drafted without my parents. And in my case, I drafted without their presence, but I drafted with their full support. Being a lone soldier in the Army is difficult. There's no one waiting for you at home to cook a nice home-cooked meal or do your laundry. There's just an empty apartment or a small room on a kibbutz. I therefore decided to make my Army service as meaningful as possible, and so I became a combat soldier. I joined the Engineering Special Forces platoon of Givati, and eventually became a combat medic for 16 fighters. My team was stationed on the border of Gaza when Operation Protective Edge began. I remember one day, a few days before I went in, I was sitting across from one of my friends, one of my teammates. In his hand, he was holding a small red kippah. He said a few words, and he gave his kippah a kiss. He then put it in his pocket. That small act reminded me that I wasn't just defending the Jewish state, but I was defending the Jewish people from all over the world. We were in Gaza for about 2 weeks. We checked houses for tunnels, weapons, and Hamas operatives. It was incredibly difficult being inside as well. Imagine wearing a heavy vest all night, all day, in the scorching heat, no showers. Your head is always up, and your eyes are always open. But it wasn't just tough on me. It was as well as tough on my family. There would go days, 4 or 5 days at a time, where I wasn't able to speak to my family. They didn't know if I was okay or not. I remember the first time I came out, I called my mother. All I wanted to do was say the words, "I'm okay." She cried on the phone for so long that I was unable to get a word inside. Thankfully, my team returned home safely, although my battalion did not. We lost 3 fighters, Major Benaya Sarel, 2nd Lieutenant Hadar Goldin, and Staff Sergeant Liad Gidoni. These were 3 of our brothers. We wore the same uniform, we trained together, we wore the exact same purple beret on my shoulder. It had been a long and difficult summer. And yet, when I asked one of my friends in Golani if he would go back, he quickly responded to me, "I hope I never have to. I never want to see any more of my friends fall. Although if I must, I would go back in a heartbeat." People often ask me why I left my comfortable home, my best friends, and most of all my family behind. My answer to them has and always will be the same. It is because I believe in the state of Israel, and I believe it is my duty not only to defend the state of Israel, but the Jewish people from all over the world. I may not have been born in Israel, but my heart belongs to Israel, and it will always be my home. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Elle, and I'm 21 years old. Like Tal, I too am a lone soldier. I made Aliyah from Perth, Australia in March 2011. Half a year later, I started the IDF's paramedics course and finished with an Award of Excellency 15 months later. I'm currently serving as a combat paramedic in a combat engineering battalion. And this past summer, during Operation Protective Edge, our battalion was the first combat engineering battalion to be called down to the Gazan border. Once I understood that a ground offensive was inevitable, I knew that I couldn't stay back while my entire battalion went in. So I requested to be stationed with one of the companies. That way, if something were to happen, I'd be there to help immediately and not half an hour behind at the border. I was the lone woman in my group. Though I was a paramedic, I learned to handle explosives, blow up tunnels, blow up booby-trapped houses. We learned to fall asleep to the sounds of rockets and mortar shells, and after 2 weeks of being inside Gaza with barely enough water to drink, you realize how much you take your daily shower for granted. It wasn't easy, but for me, the most difficult part was living in the unknown. Not only waiting to hear if someone needed our help or what the latest mission was, but also not knowing what was happening elsewhere. We were completely detached from society, and we all had countless friends and relatives inside the Gaza Strip, all whose fate was unknown. Ultimately, the operation took 3 of my battalion soldiers, one of whom was a good friend, Guy Boyland, may he rest in peace. I didn't really comprehend what that had meant until we left the Gaza Strip and I saw their circle of friends, only this time without them, that I had understood what it actually meant. Except when you're inside, you don't have time to dwell on these things. Inside, you have to be focused on the dangers ahead of you. There was a constant threat of anti-tank missiles and roadside or ground explosives, and it was a very tense time. The first day we were under direct attack was a normal day, as normal as a day inside Gaza could be, when we were sitting inside our Puma, which is a modified combat engineering armored personnel carrier, long word. And we were sitting inside this Puma when all of a sudden we heard this whistle and a boom, and everything shook. The ground beneath us was literally shaking. And then we had realized that that whistle was the whistle that an RPG makes when it's fired. And it was aimed at a trailer that we were carrying, which usually contains 1 ton of explosives. Now, had that been full, I probably wouldn't be here to be able to tell you that story. Fortunately, we had used up all the explosives the night before and no harm was done. And so after a millisecond of experiencing 1,000 emotions at once, we retaliated and continued with our missions. I was inside Gaza for 2 weeks straight before all of us were granted a 20-hour break to recuperate. And I saw the amazing support that had been growing behind us while we were inside. I don't think people can understand how strengthening that was for everyone, to see that everyone was really behind us for this. So I'd like to take this opportunity to really just say thank you, not just from me, but from all the IDF soldiers who have benefited from the FIDF, this amazing organization, in one way or another. Even from afar, you're making such a difference to all the soldiers who are protecting our beautiful little country. Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you.
Tal and El, thank you. Thank you both for your service and sharing with us tonight. Tal and El, we in the Westchester, Connecticut region have great respect for your sacrifice, as our community has long been a source of lone soldiers. We have with us tonight some of the families of these warriors, who are here to represent their brave, proud children who fought for our people. Further, I'm honored to pay tribute to those local men and women who previously served in the IDF as lone soldiers. I ask those soldiers and family members of past and present lone soldiers to please rise together. Thank you, families. You serve as a reminder that the soldiers of the IDF are not only in our minds, but they are part of our community, a part of our family. The FIDF is incredibly proud of the life-changing work they have done on behalf of our soldiers. The organization has created a myriad of programs recognizing the different struggles faced by different soldiers, aiming to meet them all. Some soldiers carry the name of a lost loved one into battle. Others, the weight of their family's financial struggles. And some pay the sacrifice of a severe wound or trauma in defense of their country. The stories of the Israeli army are many, but two things are true for all of them. The strength of our soldiers are unmatched, and the FIDF will be there for all of them. Tonight, we are fortunate to have with us a soldier who not only embodies the bravery and determination of the IDF soldier, but also the importance of our multifaceted support on the battlefield and off. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Eliran Naim.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eliran, and I'm 30 years old. I finished my active service duty 8 years ago. I had served as a combat fighter, commander, and officer for 5 years. Like Elle, I also felt the outpouring support from FIDF, but not just as a soldier. When I completed my Army service, I was fortunate to receive an FIDF Impact Scholarship and fulfill my dream of acquiring a higher education. Because of Impact, I'm now an industrial engineer at a very successful global company. But while my role as a student was successfully completed, my role as a soldier was not. As in Israel, every soldier serves in the reserves until age 45. As a reservist, I had served in several operations, including several months ago in protective age. I was the officer in charge of medical evacuations in my unit. We evacuated dozens of wounded soldiers, often under enemy fire. We also transported wounded Gazan civilians to hospitals in Israel. We faced many difficulties in Gaza, but also some moments that were very gratifying. One soldier had been severely wounded when stopped an attempted terrorist attack. There was a fear that he would lose his leg. But when I saw him a few weeks later, he was on the verge of being released from the hospital. When he thanked me and my men for saving his life, I realized just how important my service and training were. I also realized how important support from abroad was when I came back. I was so moved that people thousands of miles away were thinking about us. I would therefore like to thank all of you for being a part of the FIDF family. I have seen firsthand that what you give is not just to one soldier or student, it is to the whole Israeli society, one that is stronger and more secure because of your support for the soldiers, and more advanced and educated because of your support for the students. Thank you.
Thank you, Eliran. My wife Barbara and I are proud participants of the Impact program that you spoke about, having endowed a 4-year scholarship to a soldier such as yourself. So it's really an honor to hear tonight in your own words what the effect of that was. Now I'd like Tal Eliran, come join me up here a second. I would ask everybody to stand up a second. Please rise for a brief moment of silence. A moment in silence, memory, in honor of the 67 young men who lost their lives this summer during Operation Protective Edge, and of all the brave IDF soldiers we have lost this year.
הכאב עולה מתוך הנשמה, אדם נופל לפני שהוא שוקע, בתפילה קטנה חותכת הדממה. שמע ישראל אלוהי, אתה כל יכול, נתת לי את חיי, נתת לי הכל. בעיניי דמעה, הלב בוכה בשקט, וכשהלב שותק, הנשמה זועקת. שמע ישראל אלוהי, עכשיו אני לבד, חזק אותי אלוהי, עשה שלא אפחד. הכאב גדול ואין לאן לברוח, עשה שיגמר כי לא נותר בי כוח. שמע ישראל אלוהי, עכשיו אני לבד, חזק אותי אלוהי, עשה שלא אפחד. הכאב גדול ואין לאן לברוח, עשה שיגמר כי לא נותר בי כוח.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again for joining us in support of this cause, which becomes more important with every passing day. I would like to thank all the members of the host committee for their efforts in caring. Thank my friends Elise Meyer, Henry Feuerstein, Ronnie Heyman and family, who made possible the use of the Marriott tonight. Thank you on behalf of the IDF soldiers and their families for organizing and joining us in an effort to support the soldiers. We live in a very unique environment, and our relationship with the soldiers of IDF are in turn unique. Through your support, the IDF, we are all families of the soldiers of Israel. From the Lone Soldier Program, whose loved ones are thousands of miles away, as we saw tonight, to Impact Program, which grants scholarships to former IDF combat soldiers from disadvantaged backgrounds, to the Dignity Program, which provides financial assistance to soldiers in need, and Stride, a program for wounded warriors. Some, like Tal, El, and Eliran's friends, pay the ultimate price in their service. These young men and women arm themselves with weapons, train, and participate in dangerous missions to protect Israel and to ensure its future. We can't thank them enough. My wife Barbara and I are very proud to support the FIDF. We don't believe that support is an act of charity, but it's one of tzedakah, responsibility. A responsibility that we have to support the soldiers of Israel. We want to encourage each and every one of you tonight to get more involved with the FIDF. Host or attend a parlor meeting, or perhaps another event. Please encourage your friends to join you. And yes, like Barbara and I, we hope you will include the FIDF on your tzedakah list. On your chairs tonight, you will find pledge cards and pens, which we graciously ask you to further honor the soldiers of the Israeli Defense Forces with your generosity tonight. We encourage you to participate in any way that's meaningful to you. The FIDF staff will be available at the end if you care to hand in a pledge card. We thank you so much for showing your support this evening. And as El said, Am Yisrael Chai.
מהלכו ישיר אל תוך הים